scare you? I bet I scared you. Hey guys, I just decided to take over Nate's channel. I'm gonna do my own videos on here now. My name is Frank, by the way. I think you saw me in another one of Nate's videos, but I'm taking over his channel. I'm taking it over, and I'm gonna talk about my opinions on films now, because they're way better than his, and he needs to go die. And you see, guys, that's how you do a proper scare in horror movies. You make it this this shot that's like scary and it looks weird, and then you have something pop up in front of the camera and make a really loud noise. That's how you scare someone in a movie, especially if it's something that's not actually scary, like a raccoon. You just make it like a fake jump scare. That's a great way to build tension in a horror movie. Like, you just gotta have something in front of the camera, and it's like oh my gosh, there's a raccoon, like in Shut In, that movie. Like, that was my favorite scare, I think, in all horror movies. Like, when the raccoon just shows up, oh, that was scary. That's how you do a scare in a horror movie. You film something, and then that thing just shows up and you make a loud noise. It's a great way to build tension in horror films.
What the heck are you doing here, Frank?
Right, now that that's taken care of. Hello everybody, my name is Nate, you all know this, and I've never done a Halloween thing before. I've never really tried to do like a Halloween special, but it is that time of year, so I thought I'd try to do a little Halloween video. This isn't anything huge, it's not like a huge Halloween special. It's just kind of like this little childhood trauma thing that I wanted to share with you, because this is a topic I've wanted to talk about for a long time, so I thought I'd do something around the month of Halloween regarding this topic that'll probably be in the title and in the thumbnail and all that. But before I talk about that particular topic, I want to talk about some other shorts that are on the internet, because one of the things I really love in the horror setting is if they're shorts, because I love horror shorts. They can be these really short, thought-provoking things that you see and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I just see? What did I just watch? I love shorts in the horror setting because they're so short and they leave you thinking afterwards, after you watch it. Like, a lot of the time they can be even more effective than horror movies can, because there's so many terrible horror movies out there. First off would be the horror shorts by David F. Sandberg. You may recognize the name David F. Sandberg from the two horror movies he made recently. He made Lights Out and Annabelle. He's a new Hollywood horror director, and the reason he is so famous and he got to make movies in Hollywood is because he made these shorts on the internet that were just simple. He made them with his girlfriend. I think she's his wife now. And the most well-known one is Lights Out, which became a feature-length movie he got to make with stars like Teresa Palmer in there. And that's the one that's really well-known, but there are a lot of other shorts that he did that are really good and really clever, and they can leave you thinking afterwards. They really stick with you. Most of them are like 2 or 3 minutes, but they can really stick with you. Like the Attic Panic horror short. That whole sequence inspired a really impressive sequence from Annabelle Creation, which came out this year. It actually built on this big sequence that they use in Annabelle Creation, because David F. Sandberg obviously made a feature-length movie about Lights Out, but then when he made Annabelle Creation, he got to take some of his ideas from his other shorts that people don't watch as often and integrate them into Annabelle Creation. And upsettingly, when I ask people if they've seen the David F. Sandberg horror shorts on the internet, they're like, no, I don't really know what those are. And it's really upsetting because he makes some really good stuff. There's one with a portrait, and that one's really creepy. There's one with like this closet space that's not really too horror oriented, but they had a really good idea going with that. It was really thought-provoking and really well done. David F. Sandberg shows how to make a short little horror thing and make it really effective and really well done, and it kind of inspires me. I wish I could make shorts like that on the internet. I'm sure I could if I really tried. But it's so inspiring because he just made some horror shorts on the internet and he became a famous Hollywood director off them. It's crazy. I wish that could happen to me so bad. David F. Sandberg is so cool that he actually liked one of my tweets I did, so that was really cool. And I'd recommend, if you haven't seen these shorts, go ahead and watch them. There's also all kinds of other horror shorts on the internet that aren't really, I don't even know if I'd consider them horror shorts. They're just kind of like these random little things that are really creepy and bizarre and you don't know the story behind them. Sometimes when I'm bored and I want to see some creepy things, I look these up on the internet and they're all messed up, they're really bizarre, there's not really a story behind them, there's not really a theme behind them. They're just some really messed up, creepy things on the internet, and a lot of them are really cool, even though they're just kind of pointless. But the main thing I'm going to talk to you about today is something that's on the internet, and it is something that is seen to be pointless by a lot of people, a pointless, scary, bizarre thing, even though I don't find it pointless. I actually think there's a story behind these, and it's something that really terrified me as a little kid. When I was a little kid, I was absolutely terrified of this series, and I've wanted to talk about it for so long because it's one of my favorite horror-related things ever. And it's just a 6-episode series on the internet, and that series would be Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. So before I go on talking about Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, please just watch the first episode and then watch the rest. I don't want to say anything about this without you having actually seen it, because that's the best way to go in. Make it like a nighttime when you're about to go to sleep, and just watch them. It'll be an experience for sure. So pause this video, go watch those before I start to talk about how they affected me as a kid. Did you do it? Are we good? Cool. You just saw something that's gonna scar you for life, like it scarred me. The original Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared came out in like 2011, I believe. It came out a while ago, and at the time, I don't think the creators really thought that they were gonna make more. They were gonna make more. They just wanted to make this creepy short that is sort of like a kid's puppet show that goes creepy and disturbing at the end. And since it's never been done before, everyone saw that and they were so surprised. It became a viral hit. It became this huge internet sensation because of how surprising it was. And Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is one of those rare internet sensations that I think actually deserves to be an internet sensation, because there's things on the internet that are terrible, like PewDiePie and Toby Turner, all those stupid YouTubers that just make vlogs and do lazy things, and they get popular because they have, like, boobs in the thumbnail. That's basically all they have to do to get tons of views. But Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is something that actually deserves to get the recognition that it does. There is so much effort and thought put into these episodes, and it astounds me. The first episode is one of the things that really scarred me. Before I start talking about the sequels, I want to talk about this first episode. When I was a kid, I was like in middle school. I think I would believe I was in 7th grade. I was a kid that got scared of basically everything. I was a scaredy cat. Now I'm a lot more older and cynical and jaded, so I'm not scared by everything anymore. But when I was that age, it was at the stage where I got scared at basically everything. I was scared of the dark. I was scared of things happening to me, like in the middle of like when I'm taking a shower or whatever. I'll think like something's gonna come out and go like I hadn't even been exposed to much horror movies at that time, so I didn't know what to expect when I went into watching Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared the first time. The story is that me and my brother were watching Lord of the Rings. It's something that we do a lot, and since we've seen it so many times, we were just watching it, and it was an enjoyable time. And usually whenever we watch it, since we've seen it so many times, we talk about it the entire way through, and we fool around and goof off. Most people would find that really annoying, but it's just between us. We watch it often, and it's something that we'd like to do. We talk about the movie as we watch it, since we've seen it so many times. I can quote so many scenes from The Fellowship of the Ring, which is the one we were watching at that night. So we were talking about Peter Jackson's filmography before he made Lord of the Rings, and apparently I was looking this stuff up on my phone, and I was like, oh my goodness, he made a rated R movie with puppets that is really bizarre and dark. And I didn't know anything about this movie. I still haven't seen it to this day. I don't know anything about it. But all I really know about it is that it's this rated R movie with puppets that Peter Jackson did before he did Lord of the Rings. So my brother was like, oh my gosh, did he really do that? And we were kind of like just talking about that for a little bit. And then he was like, hey, I gotta show you this thing that I've never shown you before. It's called Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. It's about these puppets, and eventually something goes wrong at the end. So I was like, okay, I didn't know what I was thinking. I just kind of went and watched it with him. I remember specifically, we were in the middle of watching the Mines of Moria. They're being chased by the Balrog. Gandalf's about to go, you shall not pass! We were around that time in the movie. movie. So we just paused at that, and we just went on the computer, which is right there, and we just watched this thing. At first I was like, what is this? This is creepy? This is something that's gonna turn out to be creepy? Because he told me it takes a bad turn at the end, and he's like, just wait. Just wait for it to happen. And then the ending happened. Everything went wrong. All the puppets started going crazy. They had blood everywhere. They started dancing. They started getting creative. And it literally scarred me. I was so scared of this. Even if I saw like one little shot or scene from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the original first one, I would flip out. I would be terrified. Like, I literally had trouble sleeping that night. I couldn't sleep. I had nightmares for the rest of my life. This does sound like I'm a bit of a wussy, but at this point, I'm just this kid in middle school that hasn't been exposed to a lot of horror yet. So this really surprised me. It is something that really scarred me. But at the same time, even though I was scarred by this, I was fascinated by it because I'd never seen something like it. It was so bizarre and so intriguing that I wanted to know more. I researched stuff about it. I talked to my friends about it. I showed all my friends basically it at the time. I'm pretty sure they were pretty annoyed with me, but like I said, I was a stupid little middle schooler that didn't have any friends, so I was just like, hey, you gotta watch this thing! Dog Me Scared, woohoo! 2014 rolled around. I believe it was January, and my friends were talking about, oh my gosh, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, it got a sequel. There's a second one. It's about time. And I watched that, and I was at first kind of disappointed because it's not as creepy and surprising as the first one. But as time went on, I was so intrigued by this bizarreness and how weird it was. I was so creeped out by this series, but I was also so interested at the same time. I literally remember seeing the second one at school going like, that was it? At first, I didn't really know what to think. And then they made this Kickstarter saying they were gonna make 4 more episodes, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was scared, but I was really excited at the same time. So the next 4 episodes came out. I believe it was in a span of about 2 years when these next 4 episodes came out. They came out pretty fast, and all of them had the same bizarre feel, but they also always had something new to offer. They always had something new that made me latch onto it and be intrigued by it. But I feel like as I saw them more, I was less scared and more intrigued by this series. At the same time, I was still very terrified. And as the series went on, I finally got over my fear of the first one, which scared me the most, and watched that again and started to dissect that. I started to dissect all these episodes, and then the 6th episode came around, and my mind was blown again. Like, the 6th episode changed everything about the series. It really asked more questions about this series. There are tons of explained videos about it. I'm not the first one to do a video on this. There are all kinds of people that have made videos about this series before. I'm not the first one. I just thought I wanted to talk about it because it affected me a lot as a kid, and it's one of my favorite things on the internet. Matt Pat from Game Theory did a theory about it. Vinny from YouTube Explained. So a lot of my theories kind of came from them. They are people that inspired me to actually come up with my own theories about this series and really speculate about what this series is about. So that's basically my story with this series. Every time there's a childhood trauma video, there's always a story behind why it scared you so much as a kid, and that was mine. But basically now that I'm done with that, I want to actually talk about the contents of each episode, because basically all I've said is that they're puppet videos where things goes wrong. You've probably seen the videos since I told you to at the beginning of the video. If you didn't, you should. Do it again.
What's your favorite idea? Mine is being creative.
How do you get that idea?
I just try to think creatively. Now when you look at this orange, tell me please, what do you see?
It's just a boring old orange.
maybe to you, but not to me. I see a silly face, walking along, smiling at me. I don't see what you mean, because you're not thinking creatively. So take a look at my hair.
That's your body. Hungry comes from your body. Get off me. But your body, it must have to be healthy.
What's that? Taste that.
Do, 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 healthy.